Hey guys, so this is going to be the last SPSS lesson that's required for the course. The next one, SPSS 5, is just a task that kind of puts the first 4 lessons together. And you'll even see with this one that you're really putting the first 3 lessons together. The only thing we're really adding with this lesson is how to give titles to your output in your output file. But we're repeating what we already know with creating composite variables, finding reliabilities and correlations and whatnot. All right, so let's get going with this. All right, in this, with this SPSS 4, you've got a data file that I've uploaded, as well as a teacher cadet survey. So just to go over these really quick, here is your teacher cadet survey, and what we will be paying attention to are these 13 goals, and I'll talk about how those are calculated in just a minute. And then we'll be paying attention to the items within these goal 1 and goal 2 subheadings. And then as far as our data file, it'll come to you in this form. So when you open it in SPSS, all you will see are labels. So you will see the identification number, the goals 1 through 13, and then the items listed. And just to clarify, so here you see item 1, 2, 3, 4. Item 1, 2, 3, 4 would be goal 1, item 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4. All right, and so 2.1 would be starting with item 5 over here in your data set. All right, so let's talk about what you're going to do in this lesson. All right, so one of the things you're missing are variable names. So you're going to want to give variable names in your data file. And I talked about just briefly the goals. So what is happening here? Let's go back over to the goals for a second. So this is an interesting type of data collection we haven't seen yet. So here with the 13 goals, what we asked the learners to do was rank them in importance. And so each unit goal number is going to have a ranking from 1 to 13. And let's go over to the data file and take a look at that. And so we see here that everything in here has a ranking from 1 to 13. So if we just look at learner 1, they rank 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then 13, 11, and so forth. All right. So again, if a respondent ranked goal 1 as being 6th most important, then the column for goal 1, which is listed as variable 2, would have 6 as an entry. All right, and then the other items that we're going to be paying attention to, I told you, were the specific learning tasks within goals 1 and 2. And so here what we see in this first column where you see a 1, 3, 6, 4, these were October goal rankings, and they're just provided as a reference to the person taking the survey. What the participant is asked to do is to respond with a Likert of 1, 2, 3, or 4 to each of these items, where 1 signifies very important, meaning the teacher teaches it all the time, to 4, not at all important, meaning the teacher never teaches it. Okay, so for these items, so for the remaining items in the data file, what we're going to see, and let's go over here to items 15. So all of these items, so variable 15 through the end here, everything is going to be coded 1 through 4. All right, so again, keep in mind, this is a little flipped from what we've worked with in the past. Here, lower numbers signify very important, higher numbers signify less important. All right, so again, just reiterating what I said a minute ago, the respondent's answer to item 1 is recorded in variable 15, and each item takes 1 variable position. All right, there's a total of 13 goals and thus 65 items. All right, so again, variable 15 would be item 1.1, variable 16 would be item 1.2, and so forth. And just think about this when you give your variables names. All right, so now we want to talk about adding a title to your output. So let's run descriptives for goal 1. All right, so we remember how to do that. Let me go back over here and into variable view. So we want to run descriptives, so analyze, descriptive statistics, descriptives, and I'm interested in goal 1. All right, so here are my descriptive statistics for goal 1. And up to this point, I've let you just copy and paste this output, right? And I have to go through searching for it. But we can actually change our label here. We can give it a nice clean title. All right, so we're going to double click on it to activate it. And when we double click on it, which I'll do in just a minute, we're going to change it to descriptive statistics for goal 1. All right, so we can double click on it, descriptive statistics for goal 1. All right, and so now it's very easy to read in the output that this table is in fact just the descriptive statistics for goal 1. All right, so here's what you're going to do. All right, there's a lot to this assignment, but the reason is it's getting you ready for the big one that's worth 6 points. So you're going to open the data file, all right, and you're going to apply variable names to each variable. So let's go back over to our data file here. All right, so you're going to give variable names to each variable. So we may want to do something like goal 1. That would be fine. I mean, we can keep the label name as the variable name. That's fine. We're going to apply a descriptive label to each variable. All right, so we actually, technically speaking, we already have that. If you want to apply a better label, you certainly can, something a little bit more descriptive. And then you're going to apply value labels where necessary. So don't worry about goals 1 through 13. These are just going to be rankings 1 through 13. But here, starting with item 1, of course, you would say the value of 1 is very important, and the value of 4 is not important at all. All right, and that would be true for all of these items through 65. All right, and for all the output that I ask for, you are going to insert titles into your output. All right. All right, so again, go ahead and give some descriptors here. So obviously for item 1, your label would be item 1.1, and maybe you can give a description of what that item is actually asking. Here, item 2 would be item 1.2, and you would give a description of what that item is asking. All right, let's go through what I'm asking you to do this time. All right, so the mean and standard deviation for goals 1 through 5, that's easy. That's just repeating what I did here with descriptives. All right, so you'll give me the mean and standard deviation for goals 1 through 5. All right, and for each one, you will say goal 1, descriptive statistics, goal 2, descriptive statistics, and so forth. You'll do the same thing for items 1 through 10. All right. You'll calculate the reliability of the first scale, so items 1 through item 4. And just to remind you how to do that, you go into Analyze, Scale, Reliability Analysis. All right. You would put in the first 4 items here that will be correctly labeled. All right. I'm only asking for reliability. So remember when I taught this, I said you want to check scale if item deleted. You don't have to do that here because I'm only looking for the alpha value. All right, and you would calculate reliability, and you would call this reliability for scale 1. Or you could say reliability for item 1 or reliability for goal 1 items, however you want to label that. All right, and then you're going to calculate the mean and standard deviation for a variable that is composed of the items on the first scale by averaging, and I should add in here, or summing. It's up to you how you want to do. So again, just a reminder, you go into transform compute variable. We could call it, let's see here, we could call this scale 1 sum, and I would have sum, and I would put in my items and so forth, and say okay, and calculate that sum, and then run descriptives on that sum variable. All right, and again, making sure I label my output. Make sure I'm also giving it a label name. So I'm labeling it if I wanted to calculate the average. So again, if I want to calculate the average, I would do compute variable, and I would say scale 1 average. And here I would have average. Oops, actually this is going to be the variable name. So this will be scale 1 average, and so I would just click on my items, all right, just as a reminder. All right, an expression contained followed by a well, let's try sum. So sum is working, not average. I wonder if it's mean. I always get, you know what, it is mean. That's the problem. So let me just show you so that I always get Excel and SPSS flipped. So if I want the average, it is mean of those 4 variables. All right, and you'll see now in my data set, go all the way to the bottom, we have our sum variable and our average variable, and we would just compute descriptive statistics for these. And again, you're only doing one of these, so I'm just helping you to remember what it is you need to do. So you would do one of these, and you would call it scale 1 descriptive statistics, or scale 1 sum descriptive statistics, so forth. All right, you're going to go through that reliability analysis for the second goal, so items 5 through item 7, and then you're going to create a composite by averaging or summing them, and then you'll calculate the descriptive stats for those and make sure it's labeled correctly. All right, the last thing you're going to do here with 7 is you're going to calculate the correlation between these 2 composite variables. So just make sure, listen to me very carefully here. If you do an average in 4, then you have to do an average in 6. If you do a sum in 4, you have to do a sum in 6. So I really don't care whether you choose to average or sum, just make sure you're consistent with the choice that you make. And so then you'll run that correlation. Just to remind you on how to compute a correlation, you go into Analyze, Correlate by Variate, and you would put your variables in here that you wish to correlate. All right, and then here in 8, you're going to compute the reliability for the entire set of items. So item 1 through item 65, you'll compute that reliability. All right, and then in 9, you're going to compute the frequencies for items 8 to item 10. All right, use the format procedure to label 1 is very important and 4 as not important at all. So make sure that, and you're going to be doing this anyway because I've asked you to. So let's all right, so I've got my labels in here, and I'm going to go into Analyze, Descriptive Statistics Frequencies, and I'm just going to do item 8 just as a reminder to you. All right, and so here are my frequencies. So I have 19 very important, 2, we could call that maybe moderately important, 6 slightly important. We're not sure what 2 and 3 represent as they're not anchored, but there are no 4s or not at all important. All right, so again, each of these you'll label. So you would label this, we could call this item 8 frequencies. All right, so I don't think it's too hard. It shouldn't take too much time once you sit down and do it. All right, just a reminder, I've got this exercise due by April 6th at 11:59 p.m. on Blackboard. You'll need to turn in your output. So the only thing I'm expecting you to turn in, you do not have to turn in the data file. You only need to export out the output into a Word document, or you can certainly turn in a PDF. But make sure the output is in the same order as the questions, and make sure everything is labeled appropriately and that there is no extraneous information. All right, so if I were to export this as a Word document, all right, we are calling this test on my desktop. All right, so again, just going over what I'm expecting you to turn in. I want you to get rid of all the extraneous information. I want it nice, clean output. All right, so again, descriptive statistics for goal 1 should just be the descriptive statistics. I don't want the code. This would have been labeled reliability for scale 1. Uh-oh, I didn't quite get the whole table. All right, so there's our reliability. I am perfectly fine with you deleting the case processing summary because I'm really only interested in the reliability statistic. All right, so again, hopefully you get the point that I'm wanting anything that is not specifically the output that I asked for, I want it gone. I just want the tables or the reliability values or the correlation values. So let's see. Oops. We don't need. All right, so there's item 8 frequencies. And so this would be what I am looking for you to turn in on Blackboard. All right. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. And I've also got SPSS Task 5 up. So once you get through this, if I were you, I would go ahead and knock out Lesson 5 or Task 5. It's pretty straightforward from this lesson.